Okay, Team Freedom. Today we're going to learn about the difference between a Bitcoin price correction and the crypto market crash. When to relax and when to act. Spoiler alert, always stay relaxed. Okay, so technical analysis is an art, not a science. Thomas Carlyle once called economics the dismal science, and despite that, anybody in the world that will tell you they can predict prices and manage the economy. It's not a science. It's usually not based on factual evidence. It's theory, and yes, you can use economic theories to improve your life, and you can have a degree of success on predicting the probability of a price going up and down, but yet nothing is determined. In fact, Japanese candlesticks was created in the 18th century to measure human emotion. So by trying to map human emotion, we can predict what they're going to have a guess, not really predict, have a guess at what are they going to buy next. However, human beings, despite that we create many different mediums like art, science, religion as ways to measure human emotion and consciousness, we haven't succeeded in predicting human emotions 100% accurately, and we still don't know anything about consciousness. And a challenge I'll put out there is that anyone does know location of consciousness in the human body, please drop me a link. So far, we know consciousness is a process, yet we actually know very little about human consciousness. Anyway, I digress. So what is a price correction? Well, a price correction is a temporary price decline interrupting uptrend in the market or an asset. That's according to Investopedia. So the price is going up and up and up, and all of a sudden it goes down a little bit, but the price still overall continues to go up. It's just a price correction. It's not a crash, and it's fine. In fact, the price of things go up and down all the time. If it changes the uptrend and makes a downtrend, well then we've now moved from going from a bull market, which is an uptrend, to a bear market, which is a downtrend. It gets its name because a bull moves forward when it attacks and a bear stays behind when it attacks. But bull markets and bear markets, we'll cover that topic another day. Just so we're entirely clear, when the price goes down and the overall price movement is going up in the relative time frame is considered price correction. So, but this is the bit where it's an art and not a science, because for a day trader, you might call something a bear or bull market relative to the day, whereas a swing trader is more interested in a week or a month, and an investor is more thinking of a year-long trend. So that's the bit where relativity and our interest along the timeline is important. So it just here's showing a few examples from tradingcoach.co.in. The prices moving up is determined by higher highs and higher lows. There's a few days of a slight downtrend, but overall in the year-long time frame, the price is going up until there are lower highs and lower lows, and thus it becomes a bear market. So when the price goes down, but yet it's still part of a bull trend, it's just a price correction. And when the price changes and it continues to go down overall, it's called a bear market. But then you have a market crash. So a crash is a significant drop in the total value of the market, almost undoubtedly attributed towards the popping of a bubble, while creating a situation wherein the majority of investors are trying to flee the market at the same time and consequently incur massive losses. That's according to Investopedia. So what's the difference between a market crash and a bear market? they're almost kind of the same thing, but a bear market is kind of gradual, and a market crash is all of a sudden, like in one day. But again, since this is, like I said, starting art, not a science, these terms aren't they're not very strictly defined, because different investors will use these terms differently relative to the time frame they like to work in. So I like this description, that the relationship between bubbles and crashes is similar to the relationship between clouds and rain. Since you have clouds without rain, you can't have rain without clouds. Bubbles are like clouds, and market crashes are like the rain. Historically, a market crash is always precipitated from a bubble, pun intended, and the thicker clouds, or the bigger the bubble, harder it rains. So the point that we're trying to get across here, that when you have all of a sudden a massive increase in a price, you're more likely to get a sudden drop in price, and that's called a market. That is a market crash. Whereas if you have a gradual rise and you might have a gradual decline, you wouldn't really call that a crash, it's just a bear market that's gradual. But again, this is kind of relative. So basically a market crash is like a nosedive. We associate with the colour red. In fact, there's a famous saying, there's blood on the streets. When the stock market crashed, one of the Rothschilds said that there's blood on the streets, and it's because news had come that the English had lost the Battle of Waterloo and the stock market crashed, and the Rothschilds bought up a lot of stocks, and then when people realised that in fact the English won Waterloo, then the then the price of stocks went up. And this is very relevant to recent events, which I'll get to close to the end of my presentation. So, so a typical trend in new technology and almost every product, that the new technology comes out and not a lot of people know about it. It's a bit secretive. There's an underground and there's a subculture associated with it. And then some institutional investors get to know about it, and it starts to pick up, and then the first adopters make a stupid mistake of selling off, and there's a bit of a panic, and the media gets the attention, and the media goes, hold on a second, this is actually quite cool, and they start pushing it, and then when the ordinary person, the public, finds out, there's usually there can be a frenzy, and when everyone's really excited and lots of people are buying something, go, that's the best time to sell. Whoops, there's a down, and then people go, oh great, the price is finally gone down a bit. They go up buying, and then people like me will go, okay, cool, now it's an indication for me to sell, and I will buy back. After the fear kicks in, everyone else panics. There's a despair, and people are like, oh, this technology is terrible, oh, it's crashing, oh, blah, 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 blah. Then that's when I buy. In context of this conversation, Bitcoin. And then the bull trend kicks in. People realize, oh, actually, this is a great technology, and we can make loads of money from it. This happens, I guess, maybe for Bitcoin 3 times a year, and as I'm about to point out, this happens almost every July, and I believe will continue to happen every July. And July is coming, hopefully before, hopefully not too long after I finish this video. So, as we said before, technical analysis is an art, not a science. So, price correction, market crash. There's not a strict scientific definition set in stone. It is quite relative depending on your perception of time and the time frame you're working in. So this is how I am going to define the difference between price correction and a market crash. Price correction is a short-term price decline, again, which is relative. The overall trend is upward relative to the time of your choosing. it's a bull market, and it's largely due to a loss of speculators. People just wanted, people selling it off to make a bit of cash and they had profit. Whereas a market crash is a long-term price decline, again, relative, depending on our time frame. It is a downtrend, the trend is now going down. And it is a bear market. Not all bear markets are crashes. Market crash is a sudden bear market. I would also throw it in, there's a possibility there's a fundamental flaw in technology or the market itself, and that is why there's a crash. And the rest of our presentation, we're now going to look at some real world examples of price corrections and market crashes. When Bitcoin first rose to above $1,000, 2013, at the time there was one exchange that sold the vast majority of Bitcoin to the market, and there was a flaw in the exchange itself and the price crashed. It didn't just go down temporarily, it went down for well over a year. So I call this a crash because it was all of a sudden there was a long downtrend, and it did have something to do with an inherent flaw in the market itself. Looking at the most recent downturn in price, this is more of a correction than a crash. So if we look at the price of Bitcoin in the past 2 years, just before April it usually goes a little bit down, in July, and then 2016 started picking up quite a bit. A little bit down in July for a few months. Then 2017 the price shot up, started going up quite a bit. There was get a lot of popularity in media. Then there was what looked at the time a crash, but since it had nothing to do, because it was all of a sudden the drop in price. It was just after the SEC ruling that Bitcoin was that the government was able to regulate Bitcoin. There was a sudden drop in price. You can call it a crash because it was all of a sudden, but it had nothing to do with the market or the technology itself. It was just a loss and a lot of speculators. That was a good time for independent traders to get in and buy. And then there was then a massive bull run with the price doubled, nearly tripled, and then there was a correction of very close to a third of the price. And people are like, oh, it's the end, it's a crash. And people were sending me messages that the price had crashed. And by the time I got the message, of course, the price had gone up a bit. And the price then has gone down again. So, whereas the Mt. Gox situation was definitely a crash, since then, everything else has just been a price correction, because if it hasn't stopped, none of these price corrections have stopped the uptrend. Only in the short term have stopped the uptrend, in the long term the uptrend is still continuing. So for July 2017, what's going to happen next? Well, short answer is, again, technical analysis is an art, not a science. It cannot predict the future. But we can have a look at market indicators, look at what happened before to judge what may possibly happen again. So again, there was quite a substantial market correction. Price went up again. Last weekend there was not as a drastic market correction, but again, for some bizarre reason, people had completely forgotten about the market correction the week before, and they're like, oh my god, it's crashing. It's not crashing. The market is just correcting itself. The overall Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin is still in an uptrend. It's just The price is correcting itself. As I pointed out before, as I was alluding to in this video, this happens every July. Every July, the price corrects itself. And why is it every July? Well, if you watch my other videos and if you like, subscribe and share this video, you find out that I've been pointing this out for the past couple of months, that I thought it was going to happen in June. I really didn't have July, but because this is an art, not a science, the price is going to correct itself, and we're going to have a 1 or 2 month of a bear market. But overall, it's still going to be an uptrend over the entire year. Why? Because at the moment there is not a major shift change in technology in the market. There will be in August, which is why I believe that there will be another uptrend in August. But whereas July is a choppy bear market, it's fine. Because look, while there is still more buyers than sellers as of today and in the past week, the buyers are going to go down over July. And it's the relative strength index is getting pretty low. Why is this? Because large professional traders like to go on holidays in summer, and they tend to sell off their stocks. They sell off their stocks, they buy houses, and they go on holidays. That's what happens every July. That is why the price corrects itself every July. Not psychic, don't have a crystal ball, but I would imagine, assuming I get this video up before the 1st of July, that even though the price right now is about 2,500, I'd be, if the price goes down to $2,000, it's totally fine. We're still going to be in an uptrend. I'd be pretty shocked if it went below that. Pretty shocked. I believe the first week of July we're going to see a price that will look something like 2,200. I could be wrong. If it stays above 2,300, wowzers. And if the price miraculously stays above 3,000 for a few days, crikey, we're back in a bull run again. But again, this is an art, not a science. I can't tell you what the price will actually be. No one can. This is just a guess based on how the price has behaved before and looking at market indicators. So let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum has been doing shockingly well. I had no idea why until I realized it's because Ethereum is being used to launch other crypto projects, and that's why it's so popular. And then now that those crypto projects are slowing down for the summer, the price of Ethereum is slowing down, and so it got up to $400, which is crazy because just a few months ago it was $40, and it was whatever, $350, and it dropped down to $15 in one day. That is a crash. That is what we call a flash crash. It did change trend. Obviously, it was already on a downtrend, and it is a crash. And it's a fundamental flaw with the market. It's not a normal crash. It's a flash crash. So I went to $350 to $15 in a space of within a day. So that was quite shocking. And so why did it happen? Well, I couldn't find official figures to confirm this, but someone else had told me, and could be wrong. So somebody sold like $36 million worth of Ethereum in one go, and that set off a crash, and they could have easily used that money to buy Ethereum back again within a few minutes, and they would be almost a billionaire by now. We don't know for sure if it was the one person or a bunch of people, but it is quite possible that a recent ICO, someone had many ICOs have collected millions of dollars worth of Ethereum, had so long ago so they could collect money to fund their crypto project, and that's what caused the flash crash. And it looks like that the price of Ethereum is now going up again. As I've been saying in all my videos, again, like and subscribe, share. These events really only affected for a day or two because there's so much momentum and power and interest in these new technologies that it will take a lot to actually crash them completely and put us into a downtrend for a year. Despite that, we're now, which I believe we're going to be in a downtrend for the next month. Overall, a year we're still going to be uptrend. So, if all you're doing is buying and holding onto your Bitcoin and Ethereum, don't sweat it. However, what is alarming for crypto traders, on the one hand, that the crypto market went from 12 billion to 112 billion in just a few months. Of course, that was great for us and lots of money profit made, but what we had, and all of a sudden, more than $10 billion was taken out, and that set off a big crash that again, next week people completely forgot about it. And I'm talking to people, it's like, you all freaked out a week ago about the market crashing and you've forgotten about it. And the market went down for 2 weeks, and then there was the weekend where it was just, the market was just red for crypto traders. 3 days of red is just bananas. You go red for one day and it's all gravy. That's because how much, man? Like 20 billion was taken out in such a short time, and then the market's gone up again, and people have completely forgotten about this, and they are just going back like nothing has happened. So what I'm trying to tell people here is expect another one. I'm going to say this weekend. I could be wrong. And maybe it's not going to be the first week of July, maybe it's the second week of July, but I expect another 10 or 20 billion dollars taken out of the market all of a sudden. And I expect it to happen more than once in July and in August. But don't sweat it, we'll be back into an epic bull run in August. So if you like, subscribe and share my videos, I will explain to you why I believe we're going to go back into an epic bull run in August, and obviously I plan to make a video on how to trade in a bear market. So if you recently bought Bitcoin, Ethereum or any cryptocurrencies and you don't really know how to trade, you're a bit worried about your investments, trick is, don't panic. Don't panic at all. What goes down will go up again. As we saw, prices of things almost halved, things went up again about 40%. Whatever. It's a good year to be in crypto, even if you recently lost a chunk of investment. You are more likely to lose money by reacting too slow, by going, oh my god, by selling, and then the prices go up again and you lose money, because that's what happened to me. That's why I'm making these videos, because when I don't panic, I make money. It's better to not panic and suffer a short loss in the short term than to sell off and realize what you're no longer in the game and you lose so much potential in making money. So again, like, subscribe, share these videos. I try to update my website, cheapestbitcoinprice.com. I'm making this playlist on how to invest into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, which you can find on my YouTube channel. And if you go to cheapestbitcoinprice.com, you'll see that there's a special offer that when you buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, you get a free $10 of Bitcoin through Coinbase. So go to cheapestbitcoinprice.com and you can find that offer. I'll also point you towards my Steemit account. So this is a Steemit account. This is steemit.com/apps-responsive. Particularly if you do have a Steemit account, please follow, vote, resteam, and comment on the videos that we super sweet. And if you don't know Steam, set up an account as soon as you can. And if you find these videos are making useful, please donate some Bitcoin to that QR code and address given. If somebody was to donate 0.1 Bitcoin, I'll buy a new camera, a microphone, and make much better videos than this one. Because at the moment, it's not really worth the return in investing in equipment. And these videos, despite their low quality, take a lot of effort out of me. Yeah, so if you like these videos, please donate some Bitcoin. If somebody donates 0.1 Bitcoin, I'll use that money to invest in better camera and microphone, so I can make better quality videos. And I'll be making videos on different technologies to invest in and how to invest. And through time, the quality will get better. So please like, subscribe, share. Freedom, baby.